Welcome to the Lightwalker's Path. Grow your spirit with Rosemary. In this show, Rosemary creates a safe place to nurture your inner light, ask questions, develop new insights, and find your soul's purpose. So please welcome the host of Lightwalker's Path, Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary DeTrolio.
Good morning. This is Rosemary DeTrolio, the host of the Lightwalker's Path. We're streaming on Bold Brave TV and on multiple streaming platforms. Join me every Tuesday at 10 Eastern to find enlightening conversation, and I usually have great guests on as well. You can find replays on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other streaming platforms. So you may be able to text or call in as the show is live, and I would love to hear from everyone. So today I thought I would start 2025 giving you some ideas for manifesting more joy in your life and for embracing this new year. It's been quite a year, hasn't it? In New Jersey we've got these crazy things overhead and people are really walking in fear. And I want to remind everyone not to panic about anything. Just take a breath, calm down, wait to see and don't go jumping to conclusions about anything. So I would want to give you some ideas, and I wanted to start with a short angel passage that I channeled back in 2000 that I want to read to you. Okay. Conscious thought always evokes a thought form, whether it be a positive or a negative one. The ethers are filled with collections of thought forms. The vehicle of the mind can create objects. You can see things between heaven and earth, the lower astral realms, called the gray realm. The positive and loving images are also in this realm. What you focus on, you will see, whether it be angels or light beings. The more positive and loving thoughts you can hold, the more you will connect with pieces of God. Each human, therefore, actually creates a larger God force by its energy. And I just wanted to explain that it really goes with law of attraction. What you focus on will increase. So let's say you're really focused on the feeling of lack and you've gone through 2024 thinking, oh my gosh, I don't have enough money, I don't have this, I don't have that. If you're focusing on that idea, then you are actually drawing situations in to prove this to you. And if you're focusing on abundance and open-heartedness and just living your truth, that will expand. And it sounds almost like magical thinking, but it isn't. It's really energy. So if you think of two particles in space in quantum physics, these two particles can entrain to each other. So if you have a positive thought and a positive mindset, it will draw in other positive thoughts and mindsets, and both things are affected. It's the same way that energy works and energy healing works. The higher vibration of the healer raises up the lower vibration of the person that they're working on. So the mindset must be really guarded for positivity and for really working with the right energies. So one of the things I'd like to show you is first how to ground yourself. Grounding is something that we do that connects us to earth and keeps us away from that overthinking, brain fried moment where we get stressed out about everything and we're on that hamster wheel running and running and the squirrels are throwing stuff at you and squirrels are running and you can't get off the hamster wheel. So I want to show you first how to ground yourself, and then we'll do a little activity. All right, so if you're ready, even if you're at work, you can kind of listen in and try this later. So first thing you're going to do is learn to quiet your mind, and that is probably the biggest challenge for most people. So one of the things that you can do is focus on your breath. That's the easiest way. Focus on your breath, breathing in, breathing out. And as you focus your breath with these slow, intentional breaths, your nervous system actually begins to calm down. So first we're going to practice that short little activity. So I want you to breathe in, hold the breath, breathe out. Breathe in, hold the breath, breathe out. And I want you to imagine that you are a tree. You're a deep-rooted tree. So from the bottom of your feet, I want you to imagine these very large, heavy roots growing and anchoring you into the earth. And as you do that, continue to breathe in, breathe out. And I would like you to think of your mantra for this year, and for every year actually, for this moment in time. And it could be something like, I am safe in the world. Um, Things happen for me, not against me. Whatever resonates with you. I am love. I am feeling joy. Whatever simple phrase that you can focus on that feels real to you. And I find that this is a really helpful way to bring your consciousness to one point. Okay, so let's try it. So breathe in, breathe out. Imagine the roots growing from the bottom of your feet. Okay, now put your hands on your heart, and I want you to focus on your mantra. Mine is, I am in joy. I am a force of light into the world, and I walk in faith. Any one of those. Think of your own, and I want you to just repeat it. Repeat whatever it is that you feel resonates with you. Then breathe in, breathe out. And then when you're done, you can open your eyes or just focus back on what's going on here. Okay, so sometimes when that happens and you're really new at calming yourself and you're always in fight or flight, which is that nervous kind of, I have things to do, work mode, it's really hard to remember what it's like to be focused on this inner breath and on your calmness. And that's very, very common, especially in the Eastern Seaboard where we're all running around doing 100 different things at once. But when you can do that during the day, even if it's for a few minutes during lunchtime, or at your break time, or as soon as you're in the car ready to go into your house, do the breathing exercise and then go into your home and start your evening. If you don't do that, sometimes we carry all the junk that you've collected from your day, all the busyness, and you bring it back into your home. So one of the things I want to encourage you to do is just every once in a while, slow your breath and try out the system of calming yourself. Okay, a heart link is really a fun thing to do as well, and it's easy. So you'd be doing the same breathing exercise and the same grounding, but this time you can focus on the light of your heart center. So all you have to do is breathe and send your roots down, and then you put your hands on your heart. And instead of focusing on that word or mantra, you can envision or imagine. Envisioning and imagining is called visualization. It's used in many different ways. I know that sports people use visualization a lot when they want to imagine themselves like running on the court and shooting a ball or throwing a perfect pass. Visualization is really a powerful mind technique that allows your body to realign with what you want to see or envision happening in your future. So your future is actually any few minutes from now, right? So what you can do is imagine with your visualization the moment of happiness that you felt at a certain time. So in your mind's eye, you can close your eyes and imagine the feeling of being in a place you love. Mine is the forest. So with me, I just love feeling the forest energy. And for me, I imagine myself in the woods by a stream, breathing in the air, seeing the deer running in the field. Your place might be completely different. It could be your home, it could be an ocean, it could be anywhere that you feel resonating with you, resonates with your energy and gives you happiness. If it's not a place that makes you feel loved and centered, you might picture a pet you love or a person. And as you do, when your hands are on your heart center, one of the great activities is to imagine with as much, not just up here imagining, but how something feels. So when I think of my dog, I also think of like the furriness of my dog, kissing my dog on the top of it, on her little head. I think of her cuddled up next to me on the couch when I'm sitting. And that brings great joy to me. I might think of my grandchildren, giving them a hug, or I might think of seeing family. So whatever brings you happiness to your heart is what you can envision that'll open your heart center. So right now, I'd like you to just close your eyes for a moment, Put your hands on your heart and see if you can bring in like an imagination of a place or a person or a pet that brings you joy. And then just bring that into your heart center. Just imagine. See if you can get the not only the emotion, but the feeling. If you're really creative, you can go with like the smell. So I think of like the smell of the forest, the feeling, the sensory feeling of something. So anything that brings you joy. And once you're in that state, you can also imagine that your heart is filled with pink light. Pink is the color of love. So you can see the color bubbling through your energy field. And when you're in that space, that's a perfect time to ask your heart, what do you need today? What can I do for you? Okay, whenever thought comes in, the first thing that comes in, that's your heart telling you what you need to do for yourself. So try that out. See if anything comes in. You could always text or call or ask a question or send me an email at info@rosemaryd.com. Okay, so see if anything comes in for you. So that heart activity is a wonderful thing to do in times when you feel stressed, because that's the time you need it the most. So during your day, if you've had like a really jangly, crazy day, first send your roots down, go into slow breath, slow yourself down, put your hands on your heart, imagine in as much detail as you can a moment in time where you feel safe and loved, okay? Or an animal you love, just that feeling. Put it through your body and then ask your heart, what do you need? And if you still can't get an answer and you're still stressed, go back into slow breathing. The trick for slow breath is that it calms your system. It calms the parasympathetic nervous system down so that your body reaches a state of natural breath and natural healing. Young babies, when they're really tiny and they're sleeping, if you watch them, you can watch their bellies rise and fall. Belly breath is a very calm kind of breath. Many of us are stressed, so we're like breathing up here, and our shoulders wind up in our ears because we're carrying so much stress with us. So practice that slow breath and let me know how it goes. Okay, so that's called the Heart Link. If you need more information on Heart Link, I do have a video, I believe it's on YouTube, but if you can't find it, I can send you a link if you email me at info@rosemaryd.com, and I'll link it to your email. And of course, you can always join up for my website. I would really love you to take a look, and I have courses and things on there. So you'll see it. It's rosemaryd.com. Yeah, I'd really love to hear from some people that are listening in. Okay. The other really helpful thing that you can do for this year is to begin to observe your inner dialogue, the things you tell yourself when things go wrong. Are you beating yourself up? I always remember Jim Carrey. There was a movie called Liar Liar, and I love Jim Carrey. And he was in this movie, and there's a scene where he's like basically beating himself up, and he's going, and the guy goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "I'm kicking my ass." And really, a lot of people walk through life kicking themselves in the butt for things they've done wrong or things they perceived as wrong. So, what I would like you to do is start listening to the words you tell yourself when things occur that are not to your liking. Words you tell yourself when someone says something mean to you, or you hear words to yourself that are not pleasant. And we all have these situations. They come up at the supermarket, they come up at the store, they come up in your home, they come up with your children. They can come up anywhere. But what will really matter is how you process it and how you're hearing those words. If you internalize them as negative things and you start beating yourself up internally, calling yourself names, you are further creating a situation in your own body that's going to create pain and distress. And I know as far as people going through, let's say, post-traumatic stress, that's a very deep replay of situations that are harmful and painful for people. And that's why they sometimes need counseling and help for that. So I want you to just consider really focusing this year on words that you hear, words you tell yourself when you hear or do certain things or when you're in certain situations. That is extremely telling for how the next part of your day or life will go. Because if you're always in that fight or flight, or anger modality, you will continue that and it will color everything in your life. It's like looking through dirty glasses. So I want you to really consider it. And this year, kind of listen in on yourself. Like, kind of just, sit in the background, be the observer to your thoughts and your feelings. And a great thing to do is jot down moments. You can jot down things on paper as they come up for you. And that's another way to be more aware and self reflective for those moments that you go through in life that are difficult for you. Okay, so number 1, breathing and grounding. Number 2, visualizing a joyful moment or person. Number 3, observe your thoughts without judgment. Okay, we're coming up on a sponsor break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Please stay with me. We'll be right back. Go get a drink, relax, take a deep breath, and come back. See you in a few.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness, Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
Welcome back to the Lightwalker's Path on Bold Brave TV. This is Rosemary, and I'm so happy that you stayed with me. And before the break, we were talking about ways to realign your energy. So number 1 would be quiet your mind. Number 2, send roots down to the center of the earth. Number 3, have a mantra first and breathe slowly. Or if you want to do a heart link, you breathe slowly and imagine in as much detail as you can a moment, an animal, a person, some moment of joy that you can bring into your energy field. And then, ask your heart what it wants. Those are ways to maintain the high vibration also of your energy field. And me as a healer since 1996, I teach my students how to ground themselves and how to open to energy and how to allow this energy to fill them. Okay, before the last segment, we talked about being very aware of your inner dialogue and inner thoughts. I find that when I've worked with a lot of clients that were really off kilter, through the years, the ones that are the most off kilter are holding really negative thoughts about themselves. And they'll say things like, oh my gosh, I'm such an idiot. Oh, I did such a dumb thing. And they're very self-effacing when it comes to describing either a situation or themselves. It's also really hard for them to accept a compliment. So when someone says something, oh, that you look really nice, like, oh, well, no, it's just this or that. And they'll explain it away rather than just saying thank you. So if you notice that you're one of those kind of people and you're very self-effacing, it doesn't really show that you're humble. It shows that you don't care or have good self-esteem about yourself. So saying thank you when someone compliments you is not being vain. It's just being appreciative. Listening to that inner dialogue and just taking it in and noticing it is a really good way to start changing around your thought process. So one of the really helpful things that I've learned how to do and that I teach my clients to do is reframe a situation. So I'm not a counselor, but I was a teacher for years and years and years, and I worked with lots and lots of people since forever, really. One of the things that you can do when a situation comes up is to reframe it. So let's say there's an argument between you and a friend, or you and a spouse. One of the things you have to do is separate why you're angry and what ticked you off. Not about what the other person actually did, but what in it in you is that sore spot that they hit with that comment that kind of flared up this anger in yourself. Excuse me. Once you identify that, you can go back to, why am I sensitive about that? Do I believe that they have a point? Am I being self protective? Do I feel that they're being unfair to me? And then you have to identify like how I can reframe it. So one of the things I want to give you an example. Let's say someone says, "Oh, you're bossy." Okay. So one of the things you go back and say, "Okay, is this true?" Well, it might be true in certain situations because I take charge. Okay. Is it true all the time? No. Is there a reason why this quality has developed? Well, there might be. I've had to do a lot for myself. I was independent. Okay, so you have to kind of go back and kind of untangle and unravel all that nonsense. And again, if you find the ball of yarn is too big, that's where you see a counselor, psychologist, or whoever is the person that can really pull that string all the way back to where the situation has occurred. In the meantime, if it's just the here and the now, and like this happened yesterday, it's happening tomorrow, go through and first untangle what you can untangle. Then you have to reframe it. What did I learn from that comment? Well, I learned that sometimes I have to step back and allow another person to make a decision. I might have learned, excuse me, I might have learned that that other person has an insecurity, and that is their sore spot. So when someone, let's say when I take over or make a decision, that other person feels less than. So you have to kind of untangle and reframe what you understand and what you've learned. If you learn nothing from the situation, it will repeat with another face, another place, another person. And that's just what happens. Sometimes if you don't get the message, you get tapped on the shoulder a couple times and then you get swept upside the head from the universe saying, we're going to show you this again and again until you understand the lesson behind the lesson, the lesson behind the situation, the lesson behind the comment. And it's not an easy thing to do because you realize how empowered we are and how much, I guess, how much we are responsible for how we view things that happen to us and for us. And that's a scary thought because it's easier to blame everyone else than to look inside and say, well, maybe they have a point. Maybe I have to learn this, or that. So what I want you to do for this year, as a helpful tool for you, is to begin to reframe situations and understand why they're happening, the emotion you need to release, and what you see in front of you that you can learn from. And when you find the lesson in a situation, it'll begin to show up, but it won't be as scary, big, or earth shattering as the first one. Because as you begin to unravel that string, you begin to notice other situations in your life that are very similar. It could even be personalities. And I'll tell you something about me. I was really quiet as a child. And I remember I never wanted to speak up. I was so quiet, you'd never hear my voice. I think I went through high school and only my friends knew I had a voice. I was really, really shy. And one of the things I had to learn throughout life was speaking up for my truth, speaking up for my rights, and speaking up for what I believed and what I wanted. And you could see kind of like I'm not shy now, right? But it's taken time for me to be able to do that. So one of the lessons for me always came up where I always had a very aggressive, mouthy boss that I worked for. And I had this situation happen to me 4 times. And I couldn't understand why I was always getting these very domineering personalities in my life until I realized that the lesson for me wasn't that that other person was bad. It wasn't that that other person was pushing me around. It's that I had to speak up for myself in order to learn the lesson to speak my truth. That's why it kept happening. And as soon as I understood the lesson after four bosses, okay, after speaking up to the fourth boss, the situation completely resolved. And I no longer how to deal with bosses that were like that. So if you find there's a pattern in your life, patterns are really helpful clues for what you can realign for this year. So I would tell you to look for patterns of either personality types that keep appearing in your circle, situations that keep seeming similar that are really bothering you, or types of situations that you are struggling with that happen again and again and don't seem to resolve. If you find that you are always in the same situation with a different face, a different place, a different person, that lesson is not for the other people, it's for you. It's for you to notice that lesson that you need to clear and heal for the new year before you go on. And I'd really like you to try to think about that, because that will make your life a lot easier and a lot more joyful. Because once you realize how much power you have with reframing your thoughts and like moving ahead, it's incredible. You could really make great changes for yourself when you have that idea in your heart. Um, your subconscious runs a lot of programs back there. It's kind of like a really old hard drive that you can't get rid of until you know it's there. So you got this system running all the time from childhood. I'm not good enough, I'm too short, I'm too this, I'm too that. And you know, you could run through all the things that you heard as a kid that you are believing as an adult, and you don't know where it's coming from. What happens was that sneaky subconscious mind, excuse me, I have an allergy. The sneaky subconscious mind that you have, every time you're under stress, those old programs will start playing. Oh yeah, see, you're not good enough. See, you're this, see, you're that. See, you're still shy, you know? And you'll have to challenge them. So this year, I invite you to challenge those things and those old programs that are still back there from your childhood that you can look at. And if you find, again, if it's too cumbersome to untangle, you have people that are trained counselors and psychologists that do that. I work with clients in that way on my transformational talk sessions, but if, I'm not a counselor. You know, I was a teacher for many, many years, and I've had a lot of experience guiding people. And I work with angels, and I work with energy, and I work with Reiki people, and I'm a Reiki master. So I have a very different viewpoint and a kind of an unusual way to kind of shift people. So, but if that isn't enough for you, if you've been through a lot of trauma in your life, that's where you need your psychologist, your counselors, and people that are really trained in a different way to help you release some of these early traumas and sadness that you may hold. I had a conversation a while ago with someone who had a lot of childhood trauma, and how this person manifested it is as an adult, very fearful, looks at everybody as a threat. Everyone's out to get this person. Very different viewpoint of the world than I would have had with parents that raised me in a different way with much love. So you have to look at your parenting and what your parents did not know how to do, but also why you were in that family situation and what they taught you. Because, and I'll tell you this, and this is another thing that'll blow your mind, we pick our parents. We pick the situation we want to be born into because it houses lessons that you came in to learn. And that's the scary part, is like when you know, oh my gosh, you're kidding me, I did that, I chose this, that can't be, why would I do that? It's because your soul is really brave when it's on the other side. And we decide to do certain things because, oh, that person can teach me that I have to speak up. Or that abusive parent or that abusive sister, friend, brother will show me that I have to develop other qualities in myself to be able to withstand this. And you'll find a lot of people that are really fantastic counselors and such might have had very dysfunctional families. And why did they become a counselor? Because they had really dysfunctional families. And I think that's quite cool because you can turn around whatever happens to you in life and use it to your benefit and your good. Otherwise, you're allowing your brain to be kind of cluttered up with everybody else's problems in real estate. So you want to use whatever you have been through in your life to be able to move ahead and be your authentic self. And then like wear it as a badge of courage. Like, yeah, I went through that, but look at me, I came out the other side. And if you can do that and reframe things that have happened to you, you will have a very powerful life ahead of you. Okay, so breathe slowly, ground yourself, have a positive mantra, link in with your heart energy and feeling of love. Watch yourself talk and how you think about situations. Reframe situations that are painful to you and find the nugget or lesson that's in it. Once you do, you can transform your situations and your life. Here's another biggie. Don't blame your parents. I know it's a lot of people do this. They go through their whole life and they're so stuck in what happened to them as a kid, and it's so sad for me. As a teacher of lots of kids, I've noticed this as well, and it's a very sad thing. All right. So when we come back, and please don't leave me. When we come back, we're going to do the next segment of the show. We're up for a sponsor break. So please text, call in. I'd love to hear from everyone, and we'll be right back. Bold Brave TV.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
Welcome back to the Lightwalker's Path. Grow your spirit with Rosemary, and thank you for staying with me. I see we still have some listeners online. That's awesome. You can text in a question to me, or you can email at info@rosemaryd.com, and I'll certainly get back to you. Or you can call in live. Okay, so this show is about 2025 and changes you could make for yourself and for your life. And I would tell you that, you can't outrun unprocessed emotions. If you are still holding anger, grudges, fears, anything, it's going to stay with you until you process it through your body, through your mind, and through your heart. If you don't process these emotions, they get stuck in weird places. You might have like a sore shoulder all the time. This means that you're holding burdens for other people. You might have low back pain. That might mean not feeling supported by the people in your life. You might have knee pain. Those are fear spots that we hold energy that hasn't been processed. You might have stomach issues. That's where we overthink and overprocess emotion. So your body actually will hold on to something until you decide consciously to let it go. But if you don't know what's there, it's unconscious. That's what I'm saying. Those little emotions and those thoughts and those powerful things that we hold are held in our body. And unless you're aware that they're there, it'll just manifest as pain, because pain is a signal. Okay, You can't unrun these emotions. The other thing that happens, sometimes you'll get like a lot of like I call them bad dreams, but they're not really bad dreams. They're just dreams that show you what has not been processed. And one of the people that I really admire is Michael Sheraton, the Ashling Dream School. He's really great. You can look him up. He was one of my guests on a prior show, and I've taken some courses with him. He's really a dream expert, and he teaches you how to look at symbols in your dream in a very different way than I've ever heard before. And he also channels, so he's really cool. So look him up, and he will show you how to look into your dreams in a different way. All right. The other thing you need to control, and this is especially important now when the whole world seems to be going a little bonkers, you have to control your fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Fear is something that shields and blocks every other emotion. It's the complete opposite of being in joy or in love or in happiness. So when you're walking in fear, you are not feeling the higher emotions. You are just in fear. And it does a few things to your body. It raises cortisol, which is your stress hormone. It lowers your vibration of your body, and it makes you feel like the whole world is unsafe. Now, that doesn't mean to do dumb things, go out in the world and, just like do stupid things, right? It means to just be aware of fear that has no background other than your thought process. For instance, it could be when you meet somebody. All right. If they don't look like you look, oh my goodness, they're out to get me. Or I can't trust that person. So it's different than trusting your gut and being discerning. Fear is an emotion that'll kick up to remind you or to try to protect you from situations that it reminds you of from when you're very, very young. So for instance, let's say you grew up with a parent that was very sick all the time. All right. As an adult, anytime sickness will appear in your family or in you, it might bring up a fear like, I'm going to die or I'm going to get very sick. So it links into this old familiar pattern or thing that you believed as a child. Let's say you were very bullied as a child, okay? And then you see someone with a very aggressive personality as an adult. Immediately, that old fear of I'm powerless will hit you as soon as this very powerful bully says something negative. So it'll give you that same emotion. And that's what I'm saying. If it hasn't been processed and you don't recognize it, it'll continue to, like the tail of the dog keeps wagging the dog, it'll continue to appear for you. So one of the things that you can do is the more you can get yourself into the feeling of shifting and gratitude, the more you can manifest a very different energy for yourself. So one of the things I want to tell you about is something you may have heard of, like a gratitude practice. And I know it sounds kind of cliche now because it's all over. Everybody's talking about gratitude and oh this and oh that. But it's not just noticing gratitude, it's actually feeling gratitude. And that's really different. There's an emotion that's in gratitude that is, I'm really thrilled and happy about this moment. That's very different than sticking it in your mind and say, I think I should be happy that it's nice out today. That's an up here thought. We want this gratitude down in the heart center. So I'm going to show you how to bring gratitude into the heart center using the same things I showed you in the first segment. All right? So what I'd like you to do is I want you to breathe in and out. See your roots, bottom of the feet, growing roots into the earth like a tree. Okay, and what I'd like you to do is put your hand on your heart, and I want you to, again, imagine someone that did something very kind for you. It could be the smallest gesture. Maybe they brought you coffee in the morning. Maybe they brought the garbage out. Maybe somebody complimented something you were wearing. Maybe they brought you some I don't know, a gift of some sort that you're happy about. Whatever that moment is, I want you to bring it in, but not only up here in your brain. I want you to think of the moment. So I always think of, okay, someone handed me a gift, I'm opening it. And then I like, oh, that's so awesome. I really love this. And it's that kind of feeling that I want you to have. That feeling is the gratitude feeling. Okay? So I want you to go through a moment where you feel gratitude. It could be even going outside. Oh, the sun's out today. I have a day off. I got out of work early. Whatever it is that makes you happy, I want you to bring that feeling into the heart. Okay? And I want you to really bring that feeling to yourself. That's gratitude. And we just had a beautiful comment from Cynthia. Hi, Cynthia. It says, so glad I found out about your show. Thank you, Rosemary. This is a perfect way to start my new year. It's very helpful. You make these techniques easy to understand. Thank you, Cynthia. I met Cynthia the other day. Okay, so the beauty of being able to find gratitude is that once you are in this mindset, your vibration is higher than the vibration of those people that are in distress. That also gives you more of an impact to change the emotion of other people just by your presence. Do you ever have people say, oh, as soon as you showed up, I felt really happy? Or I love talking to you. You really made my day. That is them showing gratitude, but it's also your energy being able to shift them into a higher resonance. So what I'd like to tell you is the more you practice this gratitude practice, the more your vibration increases and the more impact you can have over the people that are in your immediate circle, including your family and including those negative Nellies that we come across many times in our life through different situations. Remember that they're there to teach you something. They're not there to ruin your day. So think about those people in your life that really know how to push those buttons. Those are the teachers. They're negative teachers, but they show you what you don't want to manifest in your life, who you don't want to be like, and they will also mirror a lesson that you need to learn about yourself. Okay. It's not energy. It's not magic. It's energy matching. So I want you to consider that thought of matching energy in a different vibration. So this year, decide to match your vibration with a higher frequency energy than you have in the past. That means not gossiping, not being around with other people's negativity all the time, not joining in with complaining. Okay, so I want you to consider how to energy match, and also the people you bring into your circle. So I am really blessed and thrilled to have very positive friends in my life. Why do I have positive friends in my life? Because the ones that are really negative and of low vibration have dropped off. And it wasn't me doing anything. It's just that our energies did not match. So usually the people that I have brought into my circle are positive-minded people. The people in my business are people who would like to be positive-minded and are trying their darned best to learn how to do it. And they'll look at me saying, oh, Ro, what do you know that I don't know that you can show me? And those are also my people, because I find when I can help other people find their way and raise their vibration, it's a thrill to me because I've helped them. There's a couple mantras that I go by. One of the things that I do is, and especially when I pray too, is like I say things like, I'll pray for the highest good for everyone, not just for me. So if something doesn't match for everyone's highest good involved in the decision, then it is not going to, I don't want that to happen. It's got to be kind of like the good for everybody, like the good of the order, I would pray for this for all of us, that we can all walk this path together. I never wish harm on anyone, even when I'm really angry. And that's the time when you're angry to hold back the most hurtful thing that's in your head that you want to spew, because the moment you do, you can't take it back, and it becomes a dagger. And that dagger lodges in the other person's energy field as an unresolved pain that as an adult they're going to have to do something about. Especially true of kids. I know kids can get you a little crazy, and I was a teacher and I had a lot of kids with learning issues and that, but you always have to be very mindful of what you say to children, what they bring in, and what they believe from you as the smart adult that they believe everything from. So if you have children, grandchildren, just be so mindful of how you speak to your children. Yes, you can discipline them. There's nothing wrong with disciplining. But disciplining is not like, you're so dumb, don't ever do that again. It's more like, what do you think is going to happen if you are unkind to your friend Susie, she's not going to want to play with you. When you hit your friend, do you think your friend wants to play with you anymore? And it's like you have to show them what's going to happen if. What's the result of this action? You can give kids choices. All right, these things are not like oosey goosey loosey parenting, but smacking a kid or speaking down to a child is not going to teach them anything. It teaches them fear of adults and that they're powerless. And that's not the kind of adults you want running the world when we leave here, right? We want people that are good decision makers and that can be kind. Okay, so commit to kindness and empathy. Commit to awareness. Awareness of self and awareness of how we affect other people and how they are affecting us. Affecting us doesn't mean that you're going to cast blame, but it does mean that you're going to be mindful of how their thoughts, feelings, and words have affected you and what you learn from it. That's where you're going to reframe. Okay. High vibration thought forms and energy. Clarity, understanding, kindness, joy, standing in your power, having compassion, and living with harmony. Those are the goals that are not, what do you call them? People do in January. They're not resolutions. They're ways of life. So what I want you to think of instead of resolution, think of, I will sit in the place of kindness, joy, integrity, power, compassion, empathy, harmony. Doesn't mean you're always going to be able to do it, because we have a full range of emotions, and sometimes we experience anger, frustration, lack, insecurity, jealousy, envy, disharmony. But as soon as those emotions come up, take a look at what it is in you that you have to learn from that emotion and why. Where did it come from? Why is that bugging you so much? And once you do, you're going to find that you're able to shift. Okay. So I have a couple ideas for how you can shift this year. First thing, start writing notes of appreciation. And I mean old school notes. All right, as a couple people I have to write old school notes to for the holidays. I know it sounds old-fashioned, but really, people sometimes treasure something that took effort for you to do. Texting, LOL, it's quick, but it doesn't show the same effort as writing an old school thank you for, okay? Send blessings to others. And also a cool idea that you can do even with your family. I have a big jar in my office, and sometimes I'll write in something that happened that was positive. I'll throw it in the jar. All right, and as you do this, by the end of the year, or when you feel blue or down, you can pull something out that was a happy moment in your life and read it to yourself. Kind of like a fortune cookie for you, right? So you might say, oh, my friend did a really nice gesture for me the other day. They gave me a book, whatever. Whatever your happy thing is. And then you have it in a jar, and you're going to watch the jar fill up. And what you want to do is you want to use those moments of joy to shift you when you're not feeling those moments of joy. Because then you can always pull one out and read it to yourself. Like, oh yeah, I remember that. That made me feel good. And then you go into gratitude. You could do good deeds for someone behind the scenes that you don't tell anybody about. That's a really fun one. You may have heard, like, if you're in Dunkin' Donuts and there's somebody behind you, buy them a coffee and then drive off. That's fun. Do a good deed. You can cook for people that are homeless or in shelters. You could donate something. You could share a meal with someone. You could bring a meal to someone's house. You could donate food to a food pantry, a local food pantry, or an area where people don't have what you have. I do a lot of donation of different things. We all have so much. You don't realize what you have until you see what people don't have. If you're in business, and this is something that I've always aspired to do, not only when I was a teacher, but even in my business now, I do love to help other people find their way. If there's someone that has a struggle, or they're an energy worker, or there's someone that's starting a business, or they want to publish something and don't know even where to start, I like to help people find their way, because when they find their way, it brings them happiness, and it also brings me happiness for being able to shift or help them. So that's something that you might consider, like, how can you help someone in your business? How can you be the hand that shares instead of the one that covets? It's very strange when I see, like when I worked in education, there were one or two people that were very uncomfortable sharing a lesson plan with someone because they felt that it would make them less if the other person used their lesson. That wasn't me. I would openly share. Why? Because it helps the kids and it's for the good of the order. It's for everybody's good, not just for me and not just for my, like, oh, look at me, look at me. It helps other people. And that's something that I want you to consider this year is how you can help other people achieve their goals and their happiness. Okay. The other important thing for shifting for this new year is assert yourself without isolating. So you got to know where your boundary is. Okay, boundaries are tough because we learned that we don't have the right to a boundary sometimes. And the boundary could be when someone insults you, what are you going to do? Are you going to allow that to affect you? Or you're going to state how you feel? Where's your boundary? Okay, communication boundaries are really difficult, especially with loved ones and family members, because we all have issues that we're dealing with. Sometimes people are very quick to insult people that they love to their face, right? Your family members, your spouse, whatever. And you have to understand that, yes, you have free speech, we all do, but it should not be free enough to intentionally cause harm or hurt on another person that you love. Many times people get really lazy with people they love and they show more consideration to strangers. It should be more consideration to family, and then understanding how we treat other people is directly affected with our own esteem of how we treat ourselves. Okay. There's also people pleasing, and this is really common when you've been raised by a very strong parent or parents that we're so afraid to state what we want because we might make mom or dad unhappy, that when you go through life, you begin to be a people pleaser to the point where you're disappearing. You're losing what you want for yourself. So the good news is when you speak up and you're able to speak your truth with kindness, you begin to develop a stronger boundary and you'll feel safer walking in your own shoes, being who you are. Okay. Boundary setting is really important, and if you're able to identify what it is that you want that's right for you, and if you're able to speak about it, that's where your boundary will begin. Okay, emotions are tough, but sometimes we make assumptions about how someone is thinking or feeling without really checking in and asking, how are you thinking or feeling? Many times it's assumptions. Sometimes somebody will make like a facial expression, like the eye roll, which it's like, oh man, the eye roll. So the eye roll usually means I have contempt for your thoughts and your feelings. But when you see the eye roll, excuse me, a very common teen thing to do, you might check in and say, I saw that eye roll. What were you thinking about what I just said? All right. When you see the look of contempt, I'm looking at your face and what I just said seemed to upset you. Am I right about this or am I reading it incorrectly? So that check-in is a great way to determine how that other person is thinking or feeling. It's our responsibility to teach other people how to treat us. And it's really true. If you accept people that are talking down to you and you're not standing up for yourself, you're teaching them that they could roll over you. You're teaching them that your feelings are not valued or respected. And respect has to be shown because someone may not know like what you want. The other one you have to watch for is when someone always says, just kidding, and it's a really mean comment followed by just kidding. That's not acceptable. That's kind of rude, really. So what you can do is say, I understand what you said, and I don't take kindly to how you just expressed yourself. It's not a kind thing to say to me. Or you repeat back what they just said. That's another way to derail someone that's being kind of mean. All right. So a couple tips for the new year. It's my dog. A couple tips for the new year. Keep positive, reframe situations that are negative, try your mantra, try your heart link, be in gratitude, and don't live in fear. This has been the Lightwalker's Path. Grow your spirit with Rosemary. Please connect with me about workshops, sessions, books, and courses on info@rosemaryd.com. I've been your host today on the Lightwalker's Path on Bold Brave TV. Please check back and come in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. live or watch the archive. I have lots of shows on there. Have a beautiful and blessed 2025. Happy New Year.
This has been the Lightwalker's Path. Grow your spirit with Rosemary. Tune in each week at 10 a.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network and delve into your soul's purpose through enlightening discussions, wisdom, and inspirational conversations.